Alrighty, well, that was a tough watch. That's the end of the All Blacks' first game of the tour against the Stormers, and they've held on to win. But it was as I said, it was a tough watch. You know, uh, I'm not going to go through the whole game because we all saw that with our own eyes, right? I'm just going to go through sort of like the negatives and the positives and things that I picked up on that probably, just things of note throughout that game. So let's have a look. Well, first of all, let's have a look at the stocks, right? The stocks after that game. And if we look, well, to be honest, I thought Ratimer played quite well. I thought his stocks rose. We haven't seen a lot of him, but I thought he was all right. He was all right. So I thought he had a decent game. So his stock rose, in my opinion. I thought Lakai also, his stock rose as well. I thought I don't think anyone in this game had a blinder. I mean, 100%, right? No one had a blinder, but I thought he, for the most part, was really good. Um, and it's just like he's really strong carrying the ball. He makes breaks. He's quick as well to take advantage of those breaks, and he has real silky hands. You see that offload he gave. Um, I can't remember whose try it was. Carter, I think Leroy Carter. So like he just has a lot of tools in his belt, and I really think he should be in the 23 for the South African tests. But looking across the board, there wasn't too many other good performances. Well, there was none. The rest, everyone else, stocks were down. And I look at guys like Rico Ioane, ALB, and Bowden Barrett, and even Parker. I thought Bowden Barrett, for all his experience, and I backed him to have a big game tonight, and he didn't. And a lot of people are saying that's him done, and you can't really disagree with that at this point. ALB, I thought he looked lively at times. Another silly yellow card. He is obsessed with getting yellow cards. I just don't know what it is, but he loves the yellow. Um, and Rico, he scored that try, but for the most part, like he just contributed. He didn't contribute for a guy who's played that many tests for the All Blacks. He just didn't contribute in a way where you just expect him to passes to be spot on and for him just to he was sending passes at people's shoulders. And for a guy who used to play centre, you kind of just think like your distribution. I mean, we know he has distribution issues, but I just feel like he just for me he did himself no favors tonight. He didn't look great. Um, so for the stocks wise, yeah, not a hell of a lot to look at. But yeah, as I said, Ratsama and Lakai sort of stood out from the rest as having decent games. And other things of note, I thought Josh Morby's try from like a solo effort was exceptional. Like great charge down, and then really really good one-handed pick up to score. And as I mentioned, Lakai as well, his skills on that setting up that Carter try as well were pretty phenomenal. So there's a couple of things in there that was nice to see. So having a look across the board at the negatives, I thought they were pretty obvious for everyone. I thought the maul and scrum were horrific. Um, I don't know what Jace Ryan is doing with this team anymore. When he burst on the scene with, I think it was under Foster, wasn't it? He righted things. He got that forward pack going again in the right direction. And then as Razor came in, we saw since Razor came in, really, I just think it's been regressing every year. And then, you look at last year when the All Blacks pack got absolutely bullied by South Africa and Wellington. It was going backwards most of the time. And Jace Ryan said that would never happen again. And then I think it happened the following game or two games after that or whatever. And now again we've seen it. An All Blacks pack get dominated by a URC team. It's just not good enough. I think he's got a lot to answer for, Jace Ryan. I really do. I don't know what's happened there. So yeah, the scrum not great. The maul defense was terrible. It just looked like an automatic yellow card every time they had a line out and yeah, got onto a maul. Yeah, just yeah, two areas of the game that they really need to work on and fix ASAP because that is just like the bread and butter for South Africa. They love that shit. So they need to fix that. I mean, another talking about bread and butter for South Africa, the high ball. Stormers kicked. They kicked a lot, and New Zealand didn't deal with it. There's a couple that just bounced in the middle of nowhere. Bowden Barrett failed to go up for a high ball, a couple of drop ones. So, yeah, that has not been fixed. And I kind of feel like there has been a lot of work done on that so far in the first 3 games of the year. And for the first team, and maybe we just didn't see it last night. Maybe they're trying to hold some things back for South Africa because we know they're going to go to that. And if the All Blacks and Rennie do want are trying to lull South Africa into a false sense of security, then playing like you don't know how to catch a high ball is probably a good way to do it. But yeah, the high ball looked really, really bad. And the last negative, well, there's a load of negatives, right? But the last negative I'm going to talk about was Tossie and Parker. I thought both of these guys could have really like put their stamp down and given a real good shot. I thought Tossie, and I did call this out before the game, could have had a shout to be in the 23 for the South African tour, South African test, sorry. And he has not started well. He just made some bad mistakes at scrum time. Speaking to someone on X about it, he was just saying that they were just silly mistakes. He's not even sure why Tossie was doing what he was doing. Just I don't know if it was a form issue or what, but yeah, he didn't come off well, and then Lawaki came on in the second half, and it didn't get any better. And Parker as well. I just thought gave away a few penalties, got a yellow card, and overall just did not really impress me. And that's another one that just has failed to impress at All Black level. And let's go even further and look at Proctor. Proctor, he is a club player. He is awesome for Super Rugby. And I actually thought, tonight he's playing against a club team. Like, we should see his best performance in the black jersey, and it wasn't. It was not a great performance from him either. Righty, so let's finish off with some positives. There weren't many. As I mentioned, a couple of nice individual tries there, a couple of nice pieces of individual skill, as always. Look, I thought Josh Jacob coming on and replacing Bowden, I actually thought the team looked better when he came on. I don't know whether maybe that's just the fact that it was late in the game, the Stormers, the All Blacks were finally starting to wear them down, or whatever it was, but he seemed to look more assured, and that's quite telling. And I thought Preston as well. Like I think Ratima had a fairly decent game, but just when Preston came on, the difference in the way that he was able to, he just looked assured. He looked like he knew what he was doing, and he did it with confidence. Whereas Ratima, he never looks like he's totally sure of what to do at what time. And, I think we really need to get a good look at Preston in this next game. I really do. We don't need to be playing Roy Guard before the South African test. Let's get a proper look at Preston in the next game. I really, really want to see how he goes. Look, and the other positive is there's a ton to work on, right? Like, there's a load to work on, and after a win like that, I was saying before the game that it wouldn't really matter whether it was, whether the All Blacks won by 2 points or 60. It was always going to be about them just working on things. And if they only just scraped by the Stormers or it was a clunky performance, then at least it would be extra motivation, and they would be more eager, I guess, to prove the naysayers and all the South Africans that are going to come out and say that the All Blacks are shite. It'll give them more motivation to prove all of them wrong. So, from that point, I take it as a positive. Grasping at straws here, right? But I do think that in the long run, it will probably serve them better to have had a bit of a wake up call. So yeah, I'm taking that as a positive. But that's pretty much it, guys. It was just a case tonight of the Stormers sort of playing to their strengths, and they exposed the All Blacks for the weaknesses that they have. And now, it was the All Blacks B team or C team. So how much a guy like Razzie can get out of that and say we can exploit the All Blacks here, I don't know, because I don't think the first team has the same weaknesses. So yeah, I don't know how much we're gonna see over the next few weeks. It's the first game, right? So we can't get too carried away. But it was not a great watch tonight. Um, so yeah, hopefully we've got some better stuff coming. But I'm gonna mull over it a little bit more, sleep on it tonight and maybe tomorrow, and then I'm gonna try and get another video out early in the week with a little bit more, I guess, in depth, sort of like nuggets that I pick out of the game. Because it's too early and it's late here now, and I need to have a proper think about it. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and most of all, please comment. Let me know your thoughts on the game and where you think the All Blacks improve, who you thought was good, who you thought wasn't good, who we need to see. Let me know. I really enjoy talking about exactly this, All Blacks games and how they can improve, and let's just let's chat. Anyway, guys, enjoy your weekend, and I will speak to you all soon.